Welcome back to the Home of Horror podcast.
What is cracking?
Must be a mutation, a freak of nature.
The stories of the brutal murder.
Less is more. You want more brutality. I like the fog, I like the mist, I like both of them.
I'm not asking if you like both of them, dude.
Surely I made enough noise to awaken the dead.
And welcome back to the Home of Horror podcast. I am your host, John. This is my co-host, Matt. Matt, say hi.
What is cracking?
We got a doozy for you, folks.
Always a doozy.
We are jumping into the 2019 film, The Lodge.
Love it.
Great movie,
Love this
man,
movie.
huh?
One of the better of 2019.
Yeah.
Really, 2020 it was released. But
Not a lot of good films in 2019.
No. 2019 was when it hit, Sundance?
Yeah,
November or whatever.
you're right about it,
Really hitting mainstream
2020, because a lot of people in their, I saw on social media, a lot of people had it in their best of 2020 films instead of their 2019. A lot of people had it in their 2019 films too, but
Right.
a lot of people in their 2020 films as well, because I was kind of like, oh shit, that's kind of weird, right? Like, it came out in 2019. Why do people...
It's because it was released on a wide scale in 2020.
Yes, exactly.
Less of a scale. There was like 320 theaters in 2019 or something like that.
Yeah.
Didn't have a huge box office hit.
No.
I think the box office won like 3.2 million.
Yeah.
So, I don't know what the budget was, but it's not... It should have got more than that.
Yeah.
And with everything going on, I'm sure it probably would have. Probably would have.
Did this get released to theaters?
Select theaters. I think it was like 320 theaters across
So it's definitely
the US.
definitely more of an indie film. Went to festivals first.
Yeah, Sundance. It was rave reviews.
Yeah.
Which it should have been. Sundance usually can pick them.
Yeah, it's almost better to do that first.
Yeah.
You get exposure for a whole year, and then people pick it up. Production companies pick it up and put it out. That's what happened with The Witch. Same type of thing.
I love it, man.
Very good, very good.
It's way better than this movie.
It is.
It's way better than this movie.
But this movie is very
very
good. Good cast.
Yeah, Alicia Silverstone. I was clueless that she was even in this movie.
I know.
The first time.
Really weird.
Absolutely clueless.
And we'll get into that, but first, let's take our... we're doing our first... this is our first video podcast, man. Starting our YouTube page. Our first 14 episodes have been strictly audio. Spotify, Google, Apple, Buzzsprout, who hosts us. So pretty much this is, it's all been audio up until now, which has been going really good.
Yeah.
We love doing the audio thing and streaming to those, because I feel like a lot of people are listening through those applications. But we really wanted to get the video thing going, getting on YouTube, that type of thing, because there obviously is a following there, and I think the aesthetics and the visual.
It's a new media.
Yeah,
it's a new audience. It's a new
and YouTube's been around for a while, and just everybody has a YouTube as well.
Right.
You know what I mean? So let's cheers. Let's cheers, man. We get a little tequila, which we do every episode. Just no one sees it because it's only audio. Episode 15, baby.
Episode 15. And we'll probably do a few of those. But
yeah, it's great to be part of the YouTube gang now.
Yeah, make sure you subscribe.
Yeah, make sure you subscribe. You can get all, even though we only had audio for the last 14 episodes, you can still listen to those. We just have a little backdrop for it on YouTube. You can still check those out if you're just strictly on YouTube. Other than that, you go to, like I said, all other platforms to listen to the podcast.
Apple, Spotify.
Yeah, anybody joining us on YouTube, we're happy to have you, man. We're happy to be here as well. So let's get into what you were just talking about. Alicia Silverstone playing the mother in this movie.
Yeah, I was clueless that she was in this movie.
Yeah, well, it's cool because I like when directors do that, where there's not...
They dig up an old fucking faded actress that hasn't worked in 20 fucking years and they have her kill herself in the first 10 minutes. I love that too.
Yeah, it's cool when they have these big name actors for small roles. Obviously, Quentin Tarantino is huge for that,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Small roles like Johnny Depp in Django and just shit like that, where you have this,
a very recognizable figure that gets killed off or is very small, has a very small role. Right?
It's just cool because it makes the main characters. It's hard when you have especially indie movies like this where if you have a big name actor play the main character, you don't relate as well. I feel like.
Yeah, in some instances, yeah.
Yeah, we were just talking about The Witch. Think about The Witch, the girl that played Thomaston wasn't a big actor yet. You know what I mean? That was her first really big role.
Yeah, now she's huge.
Now she's huge. But for that movie and this movie, the smaller actors, as far as the father, the girl who played, hell of an actor. Yeah, very good.
Fucking hell. He reminds me of Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah.
And, I mean, don't get me wrong, he's not Daniel Day-Lewis, but that vibe that you got, the tension, The Crucible, or There Will Be Blood.
But he's also not in the movie that much. The only other big name you have is Jaden Martell, the kid who plays the boy.
Yeah.
Obviously, me and you have talked about this. He's an it kid. If you're gonna have a big movie nowadays, you either have to have a
stranger kid or you got an it kid. You got one of the kids.
Yeah, you either got
the teeny bop is running around. We've gone through this.
Yeah, you either have a Stranger Things kid or you have
we call them stranger kids.
Stranger kids, exactly.
Stranger kids.
All these movies have at least one of those kids, right? So he's obviously I would say he's big because of it, but not like Alicia Silverstone, you know what I mean?
Well, really, what was she? Clueless.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't name another movie that she was in, honestly.
Less the names of movies and work, more of just the face.
Yeah, I remember her being in a car trunk in one movie.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that movie was, but...
It wasn't Gobstopper, was it? Or Jawbreaker.
I have no idea.
I know there's a movie about cheerleaders with Jawbreaker and they kill a girl and put a jawbreaker in her mouth. She dies in the trunk of a car. Maybe that wasn't her though. I don't fucking know.
I have no idea.
But anyway, it's the face, right? And it's not someone. It's a brilliant move because right off the bat, you think she's going to be a big character.
Yeah, you think she's going to be in it for the long haul, an hour and 40 minutes or whatever the runtime is on this.
Over 2 hours, I think, for this movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy
I think it's over 2 hours or just around 2 hours.
It doesn't feel like it.
No,
it honestly
the pacing is good. It
just gives you that bad feeling.
Yeah,
in the pit of your stomach right from jump.
Yeah,
I mean, when you see Alicia Silverstone walk into her husband's house, or her estranged husband, whatever, separated husband, and he puts the 2 wine glasses in the sink, and she's dolling herself up with the kids in the back.
Yeah, you can tell that she still loves him.
Right. Obviously, she wants him back.
Yeah.
She wants to reconnect.
Mm-hmm.
And the daughter even says, is she going to be there?
Yeah.
Mia, is she going to be there?
Yeah.
Well, no, she's not going to be there. Shows up. You see the 2 plates, the 2 bowls, the 2 wine glasses. He puts the wine glasses in the sink. He's taking Alka-Seltzer because he obviously had a rough night the night before.
Exactly.
Alicia Silverstone looks out the window. Sees her sneaking out the back fence. You know what I mean? Yeah. So all of a sudden, you see the look on her face. She's in distress. She doesn't feel good. Everything she thought might happen doesn't happen. He asks for a divorce. Right?
Yeah, goes right into it. What did you want to talk to me about? You can kind of know. You know she has this. She's been thinking about this, right? She has it in her head. And it's a really good move by the director as well and the producers is that shot of them in the kitchen. It's a really small, narrow kitchen.
It is.
And it makes the tension that much worse.
Yeah.
Like
it's tunnel vision. It's tunnel vision.
And it's all it's all pan out scenes, right? Like the camera pans out. Very tight, claustrophobic type scene, you know what I mean?
Right.
And in the intro of this movie, all the scenes like that are very they're hard cuts. There's no transition between the cuts at the beginning of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's very this scene and then the next scene. Go black out to the next scene, right? And I think that kind of adds to it along with the score at the very beginning. Not a very loud score.
Yeah, and the miniature thing.
Yeah.
Very reminiscent of Hereditary.
Oh yeah,
I
of
mean,
course.
like
Ari Aster does the same thing.
The miniature thing. It's like I don't know what
the dollhouse is what you're referring to,
right?
Which we'll get into later because I have a lot of thoughts on that.
Okay,
and a lot of I think that could bring a lot of light to this movie. That maybe if you're seeing it for the first time, because obviously no spoilers.
Oh,
spoilers!
Yeah,
here.
Alicia Silverstone killed herself in the first 10 fucking minutes. So
yeah.
Spoiler alert!
Spoiler alert!
If you're clueless to it.
You shouldn't have listened. You shouldn't have listened to this episode, right? We all say that exactly. So let's get to that. Obviously, in the beginning of this movie, I don't want to go scene for scene here. We've had a history of doing that in past episodes, where we go scene for scene. We know people don't love that. We want to get to the overall metaphors and symbolism and just awesomeness of movies and shit like that. So, but I think it's very. It's important to touch.
It's a huge scene. I mean,
at the beginning of this movie,
what sets everything in motion
to kind of set up, where.
And I think you have to get the background of the woman, the other woman.
Absolutely,
you know,
absolutely. I mean? Which we haven't seen yet. Grace is, like we've seen her sneak out the back, but we haven't seen her face, nothing like that. But we obviously know that the mother, Alicia Silverstone, is still in love with the father.
Mm-hmm.
They have this discussion. He's like, I need a divorce because I want to marry Grace.
Right.
Which, obviously, if you're the mother, you don't want to hear. Mm. Especially how she's dolling up herself at the beginning, hoping something's going to go different.
Right.
And you get that sense when she's like, when she mentions that you wanted to talk. At the beginning, you can tell she had high hopes for the quote-unquote talk.
Right. Maybe this is going to...
Maybe it's going to turn.
Right.
I want you in the kid's life more. Maybe we should get together for the kids, that type of thing. Obviously, it doesn't happen that way. So like I said, it's hard cuts every scene. We go right back to her house. And she's setting up the table. She's drinking wine, sets her purse down, and ends up pouring a glass of wine, drinking it.
Takes her necklace off.
Yeah, which has, I think, the wedding ring.
Is that what it is?
It looks like it. It could have been a cross, but to me it looked like the wedding ring. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's up for speculation, but it really looked like the ring.
Well, I know Aiden, the strange,
stranger kid.
He's, the It Kid.
Yeah, the It Kid.
It Kid. He has it in his mouth, later in the movie. He's like...
Yeah.
So there's definitely some meaning behind there. I don't know exactly what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I want to say it's the ring. I'm not positive. There's not like a zoom in on whatever the necklace is, but just the fact that she takes it off.
And that's just old shit behind her.
Oh, yeah.
Did you notice that? Like, it's almost like a display case of like an old record player, an old, like, I don't even fucking know what it was.
Yeah.
But it almost looks like a pawn shop.
Yeah.
From the fucking 70s behind her. And the one thing on the wall.
The cross. Yeah.
Very prominent.
Very prominent. Which I want to get into a little bit because what this scene reminded me of. Now, I did no research on this scene. This is just kind of my own speculation.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Maybe I'm completely wrong in this, but, being used to horror movies and obviously the
symbolism,
vast symbolism and things like that in horror movies. What it looked like to me a lot with... So obviously she pulls a gun out of her purse, puts it in her mouth.
Boom!
Boom. Which is a big hit.
Yeah. It's so abrupt. It is so abrupt.
It's well acted. Because it almost looks like she pulled the trigger too soon.
Dude,
because it's like she jumps a little bit, obviously, which you would if you put a gun in
It's shock factor, baby.
Yeah. And it's quick.
And I love the shock factor.
Yeah, and it's abrupt, and she goes down, right?
Immediately.
But the biggest thing I noticed from this scene is that there's a lot of parallels in this death scene with The Last Supper. And I didn't look any of this up. This might not be true at all. This is just my fucking speculation. But think about it. The long, narrow table. No one's at it. She's at the head of it, right? She pours a glass of wine.
Jesus' blood.
But what we do, and obviously, like you said, very prominent, the cross on the back.
Well, she's very religious anyway. And I think she's almost like a helicopter mom because I'm kind of jumping back. But when he says, I want to talk to your mother, go down to the store and get some candy.
Yeah.
And she says, what are you going to get? Sugar-free, no artificial sugar. You know what I mean? Like, she's a very strict mother. Mm-hmm. So I think, I don't know if religion has so much to do with that, but you can tell she's very involved in everything the kids are doing.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Like, she's a good mother.
She's a good mother.
Right?
Right, but she's very, very involved.
Yeah, and she obviously has some issues. But
yes.
The biggest thing that I saw here, that I saw as symbolism, and like I said, this could be not true at all,
right.
but she pours the wine at this big, long wooden table. Now, granted, Jesus wasn't at the head of the table.
Right, he was in the center.
He was in the center with everybody.
Right.
That's fine. But I kind of think that symbolizes her being alone. She's at the head of the table, no kids, no husband, nothing, just alone, right?
Right.
She pours the wine, Jesus' blood. But, and like I said, the cross in the back, but there's no bread. So to me, this kind of, I don't know if that was on purpose. Like, this kind of represents, her committing suicide. You're not allowed to have Jesus' quote unquote body, right?
Right.
The body of Christ is the bread.
Right.
You get the blood. You don't get the body, which was an interesting. I don't know if that was on purpose. Maybe I'm just looking too much into it.
They really play on the religion in this.
That's
movie.
What I'm saying.
The religion is very, very from beginning to end.
Yeah.
I mean, from the funeral to the lodge to there is everything religious in this movie.
Yeah.
This whole movie's about religion.
Mm-hmm.
So you look at it like that, and the way she just, I can't get by the way she, just how abrupt it was.
Yeah.
And the way they did it, and then immediately, everybody's at a funeral. Everybody's at a funeral dressed in black. The kids are crying.
Putting out the black balloons. And what do you have? This massive cross.
A massive
just like
cross.
Towering over them. Like.
And I've never seen the black balloon thing. I don't know if that's, that is something.
It might be.
Maybe it is somewhere, or
in any type of maybe Catholic or Protestant or
right.
Some.
I mean, I haven't been to a super amount of funerals, but at any funeral.
But I've never seen that. I've been to a few, nothing like that.
No.
I'm guessing it means some sort of way for your soul to enter the heavens, right?
Well,
something like that.
I don't think your soul.
Exactly.
And Mia, the daughter,
she states that
she's very upset about.
She's very upset about that. Where you know that the mother has kind of
she can't go to heaven,
and they were religious because the daughter's talking about it. This is kind of pushed from the mother's side, where maybe there's disagreements on the dad's side about that because he's very. Like, I don't know if he's just trying to make the daughter feel better, but he's like, we don't know where we go after.
Right.
You know what I mean? He says that type of thing. But that's why I want
And your mother wouldn't want you to be sad. Your mother...
Yeah.
You don't understand, she keeps saying. You know what I mean? And I understand what he's trying to do. He's just trying to calm her down. Your mother wouldn't want you to be sad. Yeah, she ain't going to heaven.
No.
I mean, and obviously she was a very religious person.
And I think that's what I'm trying to bring up with the no bread thing. Like, maybe in a regular circumstance, if you're going to commit suicide, you're not having any bread anyway, obviously. But the fact that it's blatantly missing with the wine, the only thing at the table.
I probably would have drank a little more wine.
For sure.
I mean, that bottle probably would be good. I'd probably have a box of wine on the table.
Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't be a bottle of wine. It would be... You're going through that, and especially as religious as she was. That's the whole thing. Obviously, she was a very religious person, and she knew that if she committed suicide, that she wasn't going to get into heaven. So I don't know if that was to prove even more of a point to her ex-husband or estranged husband or whatever you want to call him.
Yeah.
But, I mean, she definitely knew what she was doing.
Yeah.
And what a shit. I know a lot of people have dealt with suicide and shit. It's just a shitty fucking thing, man.
Yeah, well, because you leave everybody else behind.
I agree.
Right?
I don't want to sound.
No, but that's the whole point of this.
It's a very selfish thing to do,
and it's a huge part of the plot.
Yes,
where you're leaving your kids, and they're obviously the whole movie is set up by that, where these kids don't know how to handle it. They end up blaming it on the
Grace.
Father's new
Grace.
fiance, right? And I think that's a big thing too. They, Grace has a troubled past with religion.
What?
No.
A troubled past with religion?
Right. So I think there's the...
So I'm thinking the dad is in the Bible bangers.
Apparently. He's got a thing, and he's like a producer or a filmmaker. He worked on this documentary that this girl was in about her past. We'll get into that.
Right.
But obviously these kids blame it on Grace because the dad hasn't been completely compliant with, the kids meeting this girl. This should have been done if you're planning on marrying this girl. Now, we don't get a lot of backstory, but if you're planning on marrying this girl, she should have been introduced a long time ago,
well,
right?
How much of that was on the mother? How much of that
could
was
have been?
And the kids, too. The kids were... But how much of that was the mother talking into their... Well, she's crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
could have been. And we don't get that side of the story.
You don't get it, but I think you can kind of sense it that...
Yeah.
The mother was obviously talking shit, and...
Of course.
I mean, I get it.
Absolutely. That goes through everything. That's with every divorce.
Life, man.
Yeah.
You fucking leave your wife and kids for a younger woman, obviously.
Yeah.
Better looking woman.
Yeah. Another thing I want to point out too is that the score at this point is subtle, slow, unnerving. Whereas it progresses through the movie, it kind of turns into like an electronic type of atmospheric score that comes with like sharp noises and stuff like that. But at the very beginning the very beginning, we're very subtle. Not a lot of sound, right? Just a lot of like regular, like they're in the car. It's just the car engine you hear driving on the road, that type of thing.
Right.
Really unnerving stuff. And then just little sounds here and there to kind of bring everything together. But not much in the past episodes especially the last couple, we've talked about the score a lot.
Well, I think the score just sets.
Yeah,
it sets everything.
We talked about that with John Carpenter's The Thaw, which pretty much made the movie, right?
The Fog sucks.
Yeah.
If you're new to the podcast, I do not like the Fog.
You didn't. I loved it.
He loved it. You ask him if he likes the Mist of the Fog. He doesn't know. He likes both of them.
I do like both of them. I like the Mist. I like the Mist story way more.
It's way better.
I just think that maybe the Mist kind of came from the Fog a little bit.
Oh my god! Yeah, let's not go down this trail again.
But anyway, yeah. So I just wanted to mention the score at this point is very subtle. Not a big score. You know what I mean? Not a lot of long introductions with the score. It's not really doing anything for the movie right now. It's just kind of doing what it's supposed to do. It's in the background,
right?
Just kind of tying things together here and there. And we jump 6 months later, I think, right?
Yeah, Thanksgiving. Around Thanksgiving time.
Yeah, which I want to mention. The weirdest...
Dude, the blankets?
Well, no, that...
Dude, I literally wrote it down when I was watching and I was like, when they're eating outside.
Yeah. It's cold as hell, obviously.
It's cold as shit, you can tell.
Yeah.
And they're all sitting outside with fucking blankets on eating, but not talking to each other.
Very
because
weird.
They're all pissed off at each other.
Now, obviously, it's supposed to make you unnerved and not be a happy
It's supposed to be a cold time.
Yeah.
I got that, but I was like, who the fuck is fuck is outside eating?
Yeah.
Unless you're in a pandemic, I guess, or something.
True.
You
gotta eat outside.
Right, you gotta eat outside. I don't know.
The other thing was the decorations.
The fake turkeys.
The turkeys hanging? Like, how weird is that? I've never seen that in my entire life.
I hang turkeys all the fucking time.
I just hang them everywhere. Like Christmas lights. I just put turkeys out.
It's turkey time.
Yeah, very, very weird thing.
I don't even like turkey.
And this is when the dad kind of like says, now we have the setup of the movie where it's like, hey, we're going to go, how would you guys like to spend the holidays up at the lodge?
I thought you were working.
No. Not anymore.
I'm working.
Daddy's got a new love interest, which will change most men, right? All of a sudden, the work goes away, and you got a new piece of ass.
Oh boy,
that brings that reels someone in real quick.
Yeah,
right?
Can change you.
The kids are like, I thought you were working. Are we going to go up there by ourselves? No, I hope Grace could accompany us.
Well, I'm going to bring you up after school, and then I'm going to leave for a few days, and I'll be back for Christmas.
Yeah, and the kid at this point, is it Aiden? Who?
Aiden. Jaden Martell.
Jaden Martell.
The it kid.
Says, no, fuck that.
Fuck you, Dad.
He literally says, fuck you. Yeah, fuck you. And she's coming over tonight, whatever. And at this point, we haven't seen Grace.
No.
Besides the run out, the sneak out, right? But... So, obviously, the kids, they don't agree, but they have to go, right?
Right.
So, they end up going at this point. It's around Christmas time. Like I said, we're jumping forward. Hard cuts.
Right.
Just the introduction of the movie, the first 20 minutes are really straightforward. Let's get to the point, right? Which is good.
And this has been going... it's been going on for, like you said, 6 months. We jumped 6 months ahead. So this is, obviously, it's building. And he says, I'm going to marry Grace.
I'm going to do it.
I'm going to marry
He kind of sounds like a dipshit asshole kind of
Dude,
guy.
what do you do?
Yeah,
it's true. Are you
it's
not
true.
going to marry somebody because your kids tell you they don't like them?
No, it's true.
I understand
true.
your mother killed herself. That was on her.
Yeah.
I mean, that was on her. That wasn't on him.
Yeah.
Some people fall in and out of love.
Yeah, true.
I mean...
True. Now, they end up picking... That's another good point, though, is this happens, we're 6 months, 7 months in the future now. So they pick up Grace from her house, and it's a great shot. You're looking from the kid's point of view where she's coming to the car, and the dad goes and helps with the bags or whatever, and you can't really see her because the windows are still frosted, right? You just see her silhouette. You definitely didn't warm the vehicle. You're gonna warm that shit up. Right. Where are they? Like, are they technically in New York and they go to upstate Massachusetts?
I'm not sure where it is.
I'm not sure where
I know they shot it.
I know that the lodge itself, I think, is upstate Massachusetts. So maybe they're in Mass. I don't know.
Right. Well, he said it's 4 to 6 hours away.
That's why I thought New York, and they go to Massachusetts.
It's probably New York somewhere.
But yeah, you see her, like, her silhouette through the frosted windows, which I thought was an interesting shot, because even the audience, like, with everything that's gone on with the kids and the killing, you're almost not ready to see her yet.
Oh, I was ready to see it. I want to see what this piece of ass looks like.
But, like,
I mean, he don't even give a shit that his ex-wife or estranged wife killed herself. He's still fucking the shit out of this girl.
It's true.
And he's still going to marry her, even though both of his kids hate her fucking guts.
Yeah.
So
but
she must be a freak.
But from the viewers, from the kid, this is supposed to be from the kid's point of view.
Right.
So they do a really good job of putting the viewer in that situation. Like, oh, geez,
dark figure.
What's she gonna look like? They don't show her face on purpose.
Right.
She's not just some jolly girl that walks in.
What does Aiden say when he says she's crazy or she's a cultist or something? He says something to him.
Well,
dinner.
We kind of skipped that too before this, where
and he says, "Who told you that?"
Well, because she was part.
She's psychotic or something.
Yeah, well, she was part of the documentary that his production company or whatever it is filming.
Right,
and we kind of missed on the fact that
the kids had done research on her,
and they had looked at the videos,
and they watched the videos of her father,
of the whole cult, the mass suicide.
The mass suicide.
Happening.
She was the only survivor. Yes. That's a pretty important part. We should have mulled over that as quickly.
Absolutely, with the duct tape over the mouths with sin written on it. So the only way you're going to get into heaven is repent your sins, right?
Repent,
That's kind of the whole point of this movie. So she obviously has a pretty fucked up past.
Yeah. She's definitely got some baggage that she's taking with her.
Yeah. She's got a whole fucking trunk load of baggage.
I mean, who doesn't, right?
True. But not like this girl.
That's a different type of baggage, I guess.
Yeah. So we kind of missed over that where, like, she's part of this cult when she was a kid. Right. Mass suicide type thing.
Right. I mean, who hasn't been part of that growing up?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a normal childhood, right?
It's growing pains.
So yeah, that's obviously a really important part where she obviously has some issues. The kids know about it.
Right.
So when they meet her, they're already like, okay, our mom was one way. Our mom was this
straight-laced Bible,
a saint,
right?
And then this girl's the sinner,
and
right?
That's exactly what it is portrayed as. Yeah. Their mother was fine until you started fucking around with this psycho.
Exactly.
And I understand that. I mean, I think any kid would probably feel like that, especially if your mother kills herself. And
for sure. Here's another question. Do you think, just out of curiosity, 6 months is too soon, given the events?
No, because I think he was planning on marrying her anyways.
For sure, but from the kid's point of view...
How long do you wait? How long do you wait for happiness?
That's what I'm saying. It's
true. I guess... maybe you wait a year.
It's a tough situation, right?
I mean, what's going to change with marriage, I guess?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, when you got married, what changed? I mean, you and Jess were together for fucking years, and then when you got married, what changed?
Nothing.
Much. The title?
But say my son was 10 years old.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if you try to ease it, because the only background we have is that in the movie, and I'm sure maybe there's more that they didn't touch on, but the only background is we have that this girl has been sneaking in and out. He hasn't really made it available to his kids that,
have the kids not made it available either though? I mean,
true.
Is she gonna be there? When Mia says it in the back, right from the beginning,
Yeah.
Is she gonna be there? No, that's exactly the way she says it.
And what we don't know is how fresh the divorce thing is.
Well, I think the divorce thing was sprung on her immediately. I think, but he does say, I think
We need to find it.
It's time to go.
Now, how long? I mean, divorces can take years. We don't know the backstory of how long they've been separated.
Yeah, we don't know that.
So it's kind of a weird thing, Is it 6 months? Is it a year since this girl's been around? I mean, we can only go.
Was he fucking around with her before they separated?
Exactly.
There's a lot of unknown here.
So it's a weird,
Yes.
What's too soon? What's not too soon? Did the dad give enough information to the kids? Has she been around? Because it seems like, this is the only time the kids have been alone with her. That's for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
And given that how the movie ends up, there hasn't been a lot of right. There hasn't been a lot of interaction with Grace and the kids.
Right.
That's what I've been led to believe.
No, I think that is very strongly put in there.
So she hasn't been around. I think it's at least the kids.
Because he even says, I think it's time that you guys get to know her and spend some time with her and give her a chance. So I get that aspect of it, and I also get the kids aspect of it where they're like, fuck you. And that's exactly what it's fuck you. I don't want to do that.
Exactly.
I mean, you can't force the kids to.
They're still grieving, obviously.
6 months, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Especially at a 100%. Young age. At a young age, I mean.
For sure.
What's Aiden? Probably maybe 14.
Yeah,
13,
probably.
14, and Mia's probably 9 or 10.
Yeah, I mean, and she's grieving in her own way where we see she has the doll of her mother.
Yeah.
And Aiden's sleeping in her room.
Right.
To keep her calm. That type of thing.
She's even feeding the doll. Like, every time she sits down to eat dinner, she puts a little bit in a bowl for the doll.
Yeah.
And it's like she's feeding her mother.
Yeah, exactly.
Taking care of her mother.
And we'll get into that a bit, where this is where the dollhouse, the miniature house, whatever you want to call it, comes into play. Mm-hmm. We see there's a lot of situations where, sometimes it's hard to tell whether they're filming in the dollhouse, or in the actual lodge.
In the way that movie opens, they're doing that, and you can tell there's something off about it because everything's not aesthetically pleasing. Yeah, you can tell it's almost like it's a dollhouse.
And again, it's panning out really small spaces, just like the kitchen, really small.
I think the tunnel vision, claustrophobic, yes.
And
absolutely.
We get the dollhouse, like you said, right from the beginning. And then as the movie progresses, we also get a lot of the dollhouse of the where we don't know the whole plot of the movie or what's going to happen, right? You see a lot of the figures, like the mom's doll, and there's a doll for each character in this movie. Yeah. And we see a lot of scenarios in the dollhouse where the dolls are face down, and it's all like face premonitions of what's going to happen. Right. So you think, right? All these premonitions of these people are laying on the floor, people on the couch.
And it's all been played out before.
Exactly. Right? Which is interesting. And obviously at this point, you don't know what's going to happen.
Well, I think that was probably Aiden. Let's go over scenarios of what could happen. Let's go. This is the way it's set up. This is, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is the way it's going to happen. And as a point, let's continue on because I want to bring up a point later on about one of the scenes.
So they're obviously at the lodge, and the dad can't be there. He has to go back for business until Christmas Day, right? That type of thing. I don't want to go scene for scene, so we'll just say that at this point the kids and Grace have to be alone together for the first time.
Yeah, and Grace wants to be friendly with them. When she gets in, she says hi Mia, hi Aiden, and Aiden that shit eating
it's just not happening.
He doesn't want to say anything. He just kind of shakes his head.
Yeah.
So I do understand the kid's point of view. I truly do understand it. I don't understand it personally, but I could understand the feelings that they would have towards somebody who they
for sure
feel is responsible,
still grieving
directly for their mother killing themselves.
Yeah.
So maybe 6 months isn't long enough, but how long do you wait, man? I don't think a year would have been long enough.
From the dad's point of view, you definitely don't want to wait. And if you're thinking of the kid's point of view, if you're going to marry this girl, you know she's the one you want to marry. You want to get the kids accustomed to that as quick as possible, even if that means that there's going to be this weird process of getting to know her and even hating her at one point just to end up loving her in the future. You want to get that over with because they're still young. I mean, this could turn out okay if you're from the dad's point of view. Yeah. If I can get this over with now while they're still young,
they can still have a life with a mother figure.
Yeah, and they won't, and they're not at the age where they're going to completely start acting out. Like they're not in high school completely. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
yeah, no, I get that.
There's two different sides to that,
especially with Mia, a girl,
for sure.
You know what I mean? Like prepubescent or whatever. You know what I mean? She's going to need a mother figure in her life to help her through what's coming, and
which is interesting because this girl's obviously way younger, or it seems.
Yeah, she seems like a little Macy cat.
Yeah, she's pretty young.
Yeah, she's pretty young.
So what unfolds in the movie is, the kids. Is it Christmas night? I mean, Christmas Eve? I'm pretty sure it is.
When shit
goes down, I mean,
they're watching The Thing.
They're watching The Thing, which is a great scene.
What a they have. That's great. I love that they're watching it, and she's just like, "Can we change this?
Yeah,
can we change this movie?" But it's after he puts the heater in the living room.
Yeah, but the Thing shot of the actual scene of when they're saying everybody's getting cabin fever.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's
right.
It's such a cool way to put that movie in. Obviously, the director.
Well, they've only been there like 2 days.
Yeah, not long.
I mean,
even after that, it's not long. It's only supposed to be like throughout
3 days.
Yeah, it's supposed to be throughout an entire day after that
right.
scenario, right? Because the dad's coming on the 25th.
Right.
And now,
he'll be back
at this
Christmas,
point, the storm.
He's Santa Claus.
Yeah, but the storm hits, and so we don't necessarily know, but. They bring in, they switch it to Jack Frost, which I think is hilarious because the dad's not there.
Right.
Just like in Jack Frost, the dad's not technically there, right? So the kids want the dad there.
Also another death type of scenario because he dies in a car accident or whatever, right? Jack Frost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Michael Keaton. Love me some Michael Keaton.
I bet you do. I'm not a huge Michael Keaton.
I love it. Beetlejuice, baby.
Okay, I'll give you Beetlejuice. For the most part, I'm not a Michael Keaton guy.
But
he's a terrible Batman.
Yeah, so anyway, they bring in the gas heater, right? We all know those old propane heaters.
I've seen the same exact heater that they bring in.
We used to have those in my basement where it's not safe to have in a house.
It's not?
Apparently not, right? Obviously you're not supposed to keep one of these going inside of a house, right? We had one in my basement, wasn't a fucking problem.
Yeah,
don't worry about it.
I've been to buddies' houses that had no heat, and we had those things going.
Oh, yeah.
You get a headache, sure.
Yeah, whatever.
You get a headache.
Shake it off, take some
Advil. In the
Advil.
morning, you're fine.
You start that thing up, crank it to high, be like, fuck it, I'll take an Advil, I'll be fine.
Right.
Just don't forget to shut it off, right?
Whoa. No, don't.
So that's the whole point here.
Yeah. Well, Aiden makes her a nice cup of hot cocoa.
And at this point,
that should have been a red flag, right?
Yeah. They're all of a sudden being nice.
Should have been a red flag.
It's a little too soon. But also, I want to point out that she's having weird dreams. She's taking medication.
Oh, yeah. She's definitely unstable.
She's keeping her demons at bay at this point still.
And she's hiding it from Rick, the father.
Oh, yeah.
She's definitely hiding it from him. Because when he walks in and says, "Is everything okay?" She's got the pill bottle in her hand.
She's trying to be normal.
She doesn't want to show weakness.
Yeah, exactly.
She doesn't want to show that she needs something to keep herself together.
Yeah.
So I understand that point of view of it. But then we jump forward a little bit, and Aiden is starting to fuck with this girl.
Yeah.
Slowly.
Mm-hmm.
And immediately when she sits down, or immediately when she goes into the room, when the father is about ready to knock her boots.
Yeah.
The cross on the wall. Does it bother you? No, it's fine. It's
like, oh yeah, bitch, at dinner you were getting a bloody nose. So.
Right. And she sits down at the table. She sees the picture.
Yeah.
I mean, she is immediately off-put by all the religion.
Yeah.
In this house. I mean, there's definitely religious symbolism everywhere. Pictures of his ex.
Yeah.
Which he probably
should have
gone up first and been like, well, let me check this out and make sure that.
And there's a scene on the ice where
the hat.
She's wearing her mom's hat. They
Right.
didn't know whose hat did you fucking think it was?
You're right.
Come on.
I mean, the doll is literally wearing
the same hat.
She knew.
Yeah. Maybe she did, but still.
But
put two and two together.
She immediately takes it off.
Yeah.
I mean, she felt terrible about it. I truly did think.
Also, that's where the kids are kind of being a dick. It's
yeah.
like, that's my mom's hat. Give me that shit back.
Right. Grabs it.
Give me that shit back.
And that's Mia.
Yeah.
That's the little girl.
So relax.
Right, chill out. It's a hat.
I mean? It's not a big deal.
I understand.
She's not, like, at this point,
she's not trying
Grace...
to replace your mother.
Exactly. Grace isn't trying to intrude at all. If anything, she's not ready either. You know what I mean?
Agreed. She's trying, though.
Exactly. Well, she's trying to have a normal life.
Right. Yeah, and she's... Yeah.
Yeah. So...
And Aiden putting the mom in the mirror when Grace is showering. And
he gets a little sneak peek. She doesn't say anything right off the bat either.
No, we get to see them titties though.
We do.
We get to see
typical horror movie, right?
Very erotic.
Which is fun.
Very erotic.
Very erotic. He gets a little sneak peek.
Yeah.
We love to see it.
Yeah, she's not even upset about it.
No, not at all.
Maybe she thought it would bring him closer. Maybe. I don't know.
And at this point, we kind of see like if you've seen the movie, you know that they're pranking her, essentially.
What?
Exactly.
This is a prank?
What? Very elaborate one at that.
I thought they were in purgatory. Dude.
A very elaborate one at that.
No shit. We need to go through some of the shit that they did to this fucking boy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so the heater.
So what I'm saying is obviously far in the future you find out, because everybody's seen the movie.
What?
That they're pranking her. So, because we had already mentioned that they're setting things up, right, with the heater.
Oh, yes.
The hot cocoa, that type of thing. They wake up, everything's gone. Yeah. All of the food is gone. The Christmas decoration's gone. The doll is gone. Everything's gone. And they really do go all fucking out. This fucking kid. This kid. Like, he had a grudge.
He's a fucking sociopath.
It was bad.
That fucking kid is going to be a fucking straight up murderer when he gets older.
Yeah.
He's going to be fucking, yeah.
So we get a bunch of things that happen in this scenario, a compilation, if you will, of them trying to convince that they're dead and that they're in purgatory.
Right.
The changing of the clocks. It's now like January 9th.
Yeah.
Right?
The obituaries.
That
was the touch where it's like,
whoa.
No fucking way. And they're sitting there praying on the floor. We must repent. We must repent.
Not to mention, she goes out to try to find help, and they're like, it's too cold. You're never going to make it. All the cell phones are dead. And at this point, you don't know what's real and what's not, because Grace is hallucinating things as well
through the entire movie.
So
we understand, yeah.
If if you're watching it for the first time, you can't put two and two together. What's actually going on, right? And she finds the big one for me was when she finds they had buried all the memorial stuff in the snow, in memory of the kids' pictures, right?
Yeah.
The flowers, and it looks like they just buried it in snow, right? If in hindsight they just buried it in snow and it looks like it's been there for a year,
right?
You know what I mean? I thought that was brilliant. The movie had me at that point. I'm like, oh my god, absolutely. Are they dead?
The way,
they're actually dead. Yes. Like, they're going this route with the movie. That's fucking crazy.
And it was cool. I was fine with that route as well.
And they played it off perfectly. Where the kids say,
go ahead.
The kids say, I think we left the gas stove on.
Yeah, he had a dream.
Carbon monoxide.
He had a dream.
Poisoning.
Yeah. But then when he says, "Watch, I'll prove it to you." And he runs up the stairs. And then you hear Mia screaming, Grace, Grace, Grace.
Yeah.
And you see
him hanging.
You see Aiden hanging in the stairwell.
You're like,
what a shot.
And at first you're like, oh, damn.
He's dead.
He's dead.
He's
and then
fucking
he just
dead. And then he
opens his eyes.
I told you.
Yeah, I can't die.
I told you.
Then it's at this point
where that sets up everything for the end.
Because right after that scene, you get the pan out of the speaker where they have recorded her father's voice
that they have been playing,
and we see the harness that he had hung himself with, so he didn't actually hang.
Right.
Brilliant. Now I want to say, I want to say,
I want to punch that kid in the face.
I mean, is this too brilliant? It's
too
unbelievable for these kids.
It's too unbelievable for that.
I think that's my extreme cheese movie moment.
Yeah.
Where this is too elaborate of a prank for their ages.
I mean, the internet though.
But to even have the harness is kind of unrealistic. Yeah. I mean, I guess you could makeshift it.
Make something.
It doesn't show like what type of harness it is, but for the movie, it's showing you like. And even if you're watching it for the first time, you're not really getting it right at first. You're kind of like, oh, wait.
No, I didn't.
You know what I mean?
I didn't the first time I watched it.
You watch it a few times and you're like, oh, that's a fucking harness in this. Yeah. And even when they're panning to the window where the speaker is, you're not really noticing the speaker. You're just kind of...
In that long room that they're in.
Yeah.
That tunnel, it's almost like tunnel vision, man.
Exactly.
You got that slanted ceiling.
Yeah.
It's...
Very, very weird.
Yes.
And all these things they're pulling off, right? And all while this is going on, the dog's missing. You're like, oh, it makes perfect sense. The dog's gone, right? Like, that makes sense. The dog's gone. They've been dead for a year now. You know what I mean? Doesn't make any sense. And so that kind of, everything's leading you to believe.
At this point, the father has gone home and seen that something is awry.
Yes. So
he goes back to the dogs.
Yes. So now we're getting back to where... Now Grace is losing her mind.
Oh, absolutely.
Because the kids
they've convinced her.
They've convinced her at this point that we need to repent for our sins. That's why we're still here.
Yeah.
And
we still have a chance to go to heaven.
Exactly. So she starts losing it. She starts staying outside because it doesn't matter if she gets frostbite. It doesn't matter because this is where you see the kids start to teeter like, oh shit, we've gone too far.
Yeah.
And
there's a point in that whole sequence where Mia, it almost looks like she wants to tell her.
Mm-hmm.
She does. She wants to tell her everything that's going on, and you can almost see it in Aiden's face. He looks concerned, but the concern isn't for Grace.
It's for his sister.
It's for, is she gonna say something?
Yeah.
Is she gonna blow this whole fucking thing?
Like, he still has that we can get away with this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Is she gonna blow this whole fucking thing? And I love that because going into it the first time I saw it, you don't understand that.
Yeah.
You don't see that. But when you know it the second time watching it, you're like, he's not concerned about Grace.
No.
He's concerned that she's gonna blow this fucking thing and she's gonna fucking spill her beans and let her know what's going on.
And you're still not quite sure as a viewer what's going on.
No, at this point you're not.
You're kind of like, okay, maybe they're not dead. Like, what's the deal here, right? Because they're trying to get her inside. Finally, what breaks it is she finds the dog, right?
Right, yeah.
The dog's dead. It's been outside. Mia flips. She's like, oh my God, like, I left the door open. The dog's dead. This is real now.
Yeah.
It's not a prank anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, our life has been taken at this point.
And you get at the beginning of the movie, she explains to the kids that the dog is the reason that she's kind of sane. Like, growing with the dog and like having the dog is kind of like a...
Yeah, because she's talking to me about what she wanted for Christmas.
Yeah, and the dog the dog helps her keep reality in check. Like, she has something to take care of, always something to go back to. So like, the dog gone now, and them taking her pills away, by the way, now she's gone. She's off the deep end.
Not a smart fucking move by the kids. I mean, you can't leave if you're going this route. You can't leave anything behind.
Exactly.
I understand that. However, if she's taking pills, especially antipsychotics, as what you'd imagine they are.
Yeah. And this is the kids being naive to the situation where they don't understand this the psychological aspect of this and how she actually will have problems.
Yeah. How could they?
Exactly.
I mean, they're young kids.
Absolutely.
But that also brings you to the point where, how the fuck did they plan all this shit?
I know.
How the fuck did they think about purgatory?
Very elaborate.
Because religion. Because they've been brought up in religion their entire life.
Yeah.
There's a purgatory. And maybe that's where they thought their mother was.
Well, and
maybe they thought their mother was still in purgatory trying to...
Well, that's the whole underlying theme of this movie is purgatory.
Yes.
Where, what they don't mention in the movie once is hell. Okay?
They don't, no.
They don't mention it because what the kids do, there's no evil to it. It's just naive. They don't there's innocence.
No evil.
Well, there's an innocence to it because they don't understand They really think they're just pulling a prank. Now,
oh my god.
Now, if the movie this is where the movie could have taken a serious turn, which an alternate ending, in my opinion, would have been great, where they actually make this girl go psychotic. She kills herself only. Now they have their dad back and no one else. You could have gone that route.
I would have hated it.
But you could have gone that route where you see pure evil in the kids, right?
Yeah, I guess.
But you don't see that. There's no hell involved.
Them kids are evil, though. The shit they fucking pulled with this girl.
Yeah, but not to their own.
They don't know they're.
They don't know they're being. Exactly.
I guess. Let's just give them a pass because they're kids.
Exactly.
But they were smart enough to plan all this fucking shit. So I don't buy that shit. They were smart enough to plan a harness, to take all the food, to drug this woman.
Yeah.
To fucking make a fake obituary, to kill her dog, to plant all the stuff in the snow.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just one thing that they did. It's not two things. It's not three.
True.
This was elaborate from beginning to end. Even in the mirror, when he does the mom thing. I don't think he expected to get caught, or I don't think he expected that she would see him. But I don't think he expected to see some titties either. So he hung around for a little extra time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like
it. So I think that was probably a misstep by him.
Oh, for sure.
The mom thing was supposed to be there, and he wasn't.
Yeah, yeah, and he was.
And he was because he wanted to see some titties.
Yeah.
I mean,
but that's the naive. Like that's where the kids are being naive and in the innocence of the kids. Now, they don't understand what they're trying to get revenge, right?
Right.
But they don't understand revenge to the fullest. They don't understand that it's going to hurt them as well. That's what revenge always is. They don't. The classic saying: before you embark on a journey of revenge, make sure you dig 2 graves.
Right.
One for yourself and one for the person you're going after. And that's the truth. They don't understand that, though. To them, it's this big, I'm trying to hurt you. I don't understand that I'm going to get hurt.
And they're smarter than she is. You know, that is their whole flaw.
Exactly. Everything emphasizes purgatory in this. Mm-hmm. The whole thing. You know, it's not only that, it talks about how you can go to heaven for repenting one's sins, right?
Right.
Doesn't say anything about hell ever. It kind of blurs the lines of good and evil with all the characters.
Yeah, I don't think it blurs much with the kids, though. I mean,
but they don't understand that they're being evil. They're not trying to. They don't understand that they're hurting her in the way that she's being hurt.
So what was the end game here in the kids' minds? What was the end game here in the kids' minds?
That's a good point.
Where was this going to go when their father showed up in a day?
Yeah.
How could this have gone?
Well, I think what they're trying to ultimately prove,
is
to their father that they don't want this, and they don't want this. They don't want another mom. They didn't think about the fact, because what happens? Right. What happens is ends up fucking themselves over.
Right. I'll take a shot at that.
Yes.
What's the fucking end game?
It's true.
What is the end game?
It's
a lose-lose. Truly, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe to show the father that she's crazy.
Maybe
that was it.
It's true, but they're ignorant about their own actions. You know, they know that their mom killed themselves, right? They went through a lot. But on the other hand, like it's the same thing with Grace. Okay, so to them, they're doing a solid for their mom.
I guess.
They're not thinking about the evil. So maybe their acts are evil, but they're ignorant to that.
Right.
And now on the other hand, Grace's actions are justified because the kids push her to the limit. So in the movie sense, in the viewer sense, no one's truly evil. They both have their reasons of why they're doing things. It's not just pure evil. It's not, I want to just hurt this woman. They both have excuses as to why they're doing it, is what I'm saying.
I feel bad for Grace.
For sure.
And maybe she was a cheater. Maybe that, I mean, I guess she was because they weren't divorced and all this shit. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I wish we did have a little bit more backstory. Maybe that's for the imagination. Maybe that's, you know what I mean? If she was fucking around with this guy when he was happily married. I don't know if that was the case.
True.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we don't get that. We don't know the background. However, you don't fuck with somebody like that. If somebody fucked with me like, I'd do the same fucking
That's
shit,
what I'm saying.
man.
But those kids have no
Honestly.
idea the psychological damage that has been done to her, right?
And then when all the shit finally hits the fucking fan and she's repenting and she's talking crazy and Aiden and Mia go upstairs.
Yeah.
In the room.
They're like, fuck this.
We fucked up.
Yeah,
I think they knew they fucked up.
Well, and at this point, let's just back up a second where now we know as the viewer that it's a prank because they go downstairs under the house.
We see all the stuff.
They pull everything out of the coal cellar or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So we understand that they're pranking her. And they tell her, we're pranking you. It's just a joke. But she's too far gone.
Right.
Like, it's over, right?
Right.
So back to your point of being in the attic. We've gone too far. We know our mistakes now.
And she and Mia has to pee. And Aiden says, you can't go down there.
Yeah.
You can't go down. You have to stay up here. You have to pee up here. Whatever.
Exactly.
You can't go down there. She's lost it.
Mm-hmm.
So, in that sense, he knows what the fuck he was doing.
Yeah.
He knows human nature.
To an extent, yeah.
He's old enough to understand that if you fuck with somebody long enough, sooner or later somebody's going to come back around and fuck with you.
Yeah. See,
you know what I mean?
See, I think he was old enough to understand that he made a mistake. Whereas the girl is still thinking.
This kid.
Well, no,
I kind of hate.
Well, no,
that.
I'm trying the overall.
Right.
No, I'm trying to give you the overall theme of the movie, which is purgatory.
I get you.
Okay?
I get you.
Just think of the word purgatory, right?
Yeah, no, I know.
So, evil is not mentioned in the movie for a specific reason. There's never a chance that they're going to hell, except for in Mia's mind. That's what makes her go insane, right? She's being told, well, her past is telling her, like, if I don't repent my sins,
right,
that I will. But to them, like, okay, so for him, he knows he made a mistake. But for Mia, she still thinks it's like this prank gone wrong rather than a bigger picture.
Yeah, well, Mia, I think, is almost taken out of this whole thing.
Yeah,
she's
way
young.
too into
She's
it.
too young. She's
She's
kind of along for the ride.
The whole setup was a prank, right, for revenge. Right. But in the end, they really are in purgatory. Because they're all about to repent. They're all about to pay for their sins. All of them. Whether it was good or bad, they're all about to pay for it. That's the whole point. The whole theme is purgatory.
Right.
Where they end up in it anyway, even though it was a joke.
Right.
They have sinned. She has sinned. What's the greater sin, though?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it comes down to that point where obviously now she's cracked. Grace is cracked.
Yes.
She's gone above and beyond. She's back to her old cult ways.
Cult ways, yes. She's talking.
So the dad comes back.
Yeah.
Dad comes back. He realizes, and we'll get to the dollhouse here.
Yes.
So let's get to the dollhouse. He's at the house and he realizes that the dollhouse is set up. This whole reason they've been showing the dollhouse and the people on the floor, they've been planning this whole thing out. They Home Alone her.
Right.
They Home Alone her is what they did.
Right.
He sees the doll of Jaden Martell's character Aiden hanging. Like they planned this whole thing out. And when he sees that in the dollhouse in the room, he knows that something's going on. I've been trying to call you
for 2 days.
The storm hit. I can't get a hold of you. And their phones are dead at this point.
Please come. In the scene where jumping back a little bit before Grace kind of goes crazy.
Yeah.
When she hears Mia talking upstairs. Mm-hmm. I love that scene. Yeah. I love that scene because you had a cell phone this whole fucking time because you actually think that. Yeah. When she's on the phone, you think, oh, she's talking to her fucking dad.
Yeah.
So they've planned this whole fucking thing, and then when you find out the phone's dead, she's like, I'm just pretending.
Yeah, I'm just like...
So at that point, you really do believe, okay, maybe they are dead.
Like a little girl would.
They
pretend.
Exactly. They truly try to make you believe that. And if you haven't seen the movie before, you obviously would think that.
Oh, for sure.
Maybe the little girl is just playing. You know what I mean? But knowing what we know now, it's fucked up. The way it all played out.
Yeah.
The way it all fucking played out. Because toying with somebody like that, dude, that's a fucked up thing to do.
Absolutely.
Especially with somebody with a history like she has.
Well, to that extent, I mean, it's incredible.
Like, it's not. I mean, they're eating what? What are they eating? Chili and fucking saltine crackers?
Yeah.
Which also weird. Why was there only chili and saltine crackers?
Yeah, I don't know.
It was weird.
Well, the dad also mentions that she can't cook.
Right.
And which is still weird though, because he mentions, yeah, she can't cook, so you'll be able to eat whatever you want, but there's not anything else to eat.
Right, sandwiches.
Yeah.
I'm making a sandwich. Earlier in the movie, I'm making a sandwich. Before she brings up, oh, you can peep on me in the shower.
Yeah.
Right, you can't talk to me. So that whole situation is kind of weird.
Yeah, and
I don't know.
Yeah, so obviously the dad realizes something's... The dollhouse is huge.
He knows something is awry.
The dollhouse is huge to this whole movie.
Yeah.
You think it's just a way of, like, screenshotting
it's just
things.
Cinematic.
And like,
it's just
cinematic
right.
brilliance or whatever you want to call it, like Ari Aster does with
Exactly.
Hereditary. You think it's meaningless, but in the end you realize it's the whole plan.
They were plotting out
It's the entire plot from the beginning of the movie to the end.
Yeah.
Which turns on them, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
She goes fucking crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Ends up going back to her cult leader father ways. Now she thinks she understands why her dad did what he did.
And why wouldn't she?
Exactly.
I mean, in this situation, why wouldn't you revert back to everything your father said was true?
If you truly believe it. I mean, you're off your medication. You're off the rails at this point.
You're off the fucking rails.
You're just going mentally insane.
Yeah.
And then we get the dad shows up, right, for the ending here.
Yeah. Love it.
And she has the gun in her hand.
Mm-hmm.
Dad shows up. What are you doing, Grace? What are you doing? We need to repent.
Right.
Or else we're not going to go to heaven. We're in purgatory. We're not going to go to heaven. We need to go to heaven.
She puts the gun to her head.
Yeah. And there's a snippet of what her dad says, and I can't remember exactly what it is, but it's something along the lines of, you know what you need to do in order to cross over.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives you this idea of, like, she knows she needs to... Because that's obviously the sermon he gave to his cult before they committed mass suicide.
Yeah, and they played off of it.
Yeah.
I mean, they were playing that.
He says, you know what? You are in purgatory. We're already in purgatory. We know what we need to do to cross over.
Right.
Puts that in her head, right? She runs with it, obviously.
Oh, yeah. Well, dude, she's obviously unstable.
Yeah.
She's obviously an unstable person, which also sends some red flags, because if the father didn't know that she was on medication and how long...
Well, he should have figured it out anyway.
Should have been able to figure it out. But
Yeah.
she probably hasn't been under this type of stress in...
Exactly.
Ever. Since
her
the
life is some sort of together at this point, right?
Right.
So...
Until the dog dies.
And that was like her only tie to real life.
Exactly.
When the kids pulled this prank.
Yeah.
And so obviously the dad comes, tries to convince her, like, no, this is... Because she's saying, we're in purgatory. You don't understand. Nothing matters. The only thing we need to do... Because at this point, her mind is on salvation.
Yeah.
There's no...
Right. We need to go
There's
to
no
heaven.
fear.
Right. Exactly.
Because all you need to do... There's only one thing you need to do to cross over.
Mm-hmm.
Like her father said. So there's no fear in her eyes. And the dad can see this with all the fear in his eyes of his child. His kids, right?
Right.
So he's saying, put the gun down. It's okay. You're not... This is real. This is real. And the one thing that fucks him over by chance is that she pulls the trigger on herself and there's nothing. It's like Russian roulette.
Right.
Nothing in the chamber. Boom. See, I told you. Put the gun down.
Give me the gun, Grace.
And your favorite, we get some shock factor.
Boom. Boom,
Boom.
baby.
Takes him out. Done. Just like the mom went quick, unsuspected to some point.
Right.
It's not unsuspected, but you're kind of expecting it, but it's so quick that your mind, when you're, as the viewer, your mind hasn't decided if it's going to happen or not yet, right?
You think
and
this
then it's
is
just
the
boom.
end.
It's like mid-sentence.
You think this is the end.
There's no like score build-up where like, oh my god, like there's going to be this musical build-up and there's going to be high pitches.
She just says, I'll show you.
And then boom.
Shoots him.
Your mind hasn't even decided if you think he's going to be shot or not yet.
Kills
and then
him.
he goes down.
The kids go down. Oh, man.
And then it's like 100% real, where the kid, Aiden at this point is like, get my sister out of here.
Mia, we need to go.
Because
they both run to the father, and,
Yeah.
they're at the bottom of the stairs, and they're both, obviously upset.
Yeah.
You reap what you sow, motherfucker.
Exactly.
Aiden, you reap what you sow.
Well, this is where they're now in purgatory, and they're paying for their sins at this point. That's why purgatory is so big as the symbolism and the metaphor of this movie.
Yeah.
Now, I have this twisted thing in my head. It's kind of dark, but like,
I like
there's this weird, like when he's pulling his sister away, like we gotta get out of here. We gotta
We need
get
to go
out of here.
now, Mia. Yeah.
There's this weird set. I tried to put myself in that position, and like what I came to was like, there's this. Obviously, you want to save her because it's your sister, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in that sense, when your dad immediately dies and you make the immediate decision of pulling your only family left away, I feel like in his head or in anybody's head that it would happen to is like, I don't want to be the last one left. Right? Like, I need to get you away, not only just because you're my sister and I love you, but everyone that I know is dead.
Right.
And I don't want to be alone. I don't want to be the last one. So I need to save you as well.
Right. I don't want to be alone.
Which would...
Right.
And I'm trying to put myself in like the 14-year-old position, right? I feel like that would be like, I know it sounds dark and twisted, but like it scared me when I was watching the movie. I was like, damn, like
I understand that.
You know what I mean?
I understand that point of view. But I think in the heat of the moment, you probably are trying to protect your own.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I have a little brother, and I have,
yeah.
I couldn't imagine a situation like I would never fucking be in a situation like that because I'm not a fucking little psycho.
Yeah, yeah.
But if something like that happened, you would be thinking, okay, what's done is done. We need to move. We need to go. You know,
they're trying to get away in the Jeep.
Exactly, it doesn't work.
That good old New England winter storm, that nor'easter.
Yeah.
You ain't getting away from that shit, brother.
No, ain't
She
happening.
walks out with the
revolver,
old school too.
I
right?
love it. Yeah.
It's like you could tell it was probably like a piece on the next to the mantle.
It was a family heirloom.
Exactly.
He says it earlier in the movie. It's
old school shit, right?
And she's definitely good with a gun.
It's like purely for like decoration purposes at this point because you can tell they have a lot of money. They're wealthy.
Oh yeah.
But it works as the cross, so to speak, in this movie, right?
Well, it's Chekhov's gun.
Yeah, it's the end game.
Gun.
It's the end game.
I mean, it shows it too early for a reason.
Yeah, exactly.
It shows it to you before the father leaves.
It's very subtle. It's very subtle, but yeah, absolutely.
Just in case.
You know it's going to come back.
Just in case you need it, right?
And so obviously at the end, brilliant. Now, I want to talk to you about this because when you first watched the movie, you had a little bit of a problem with the ending.
I still do.
Okay.
So
I want to talk to you about that, where she ends up at the table with them and she's singing.
And the father. See, I like the fact that they put the father at the head of the table, dead.
Yeah.
Like, I love the shock factor of that the kids are sitting there and they're eating their chili and salty and fucking crackers.
Which they're not touching, by the way.
I mean,
would you
probably lost your appetite?
Yeah, absolutely.
You've probably lost your appetite at this point.
Exactly.
And he's sitting at the head of the table, and she's just talking, and then she breaks into song.
Yeah.
And they start.
I can't remember the exact song.
And they start singing with her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's a hymn. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's almost try to like relieve the tension of the situation where they know because Aiden says to Mia, "It's okay. It's gonna be all right." Like try to be there for her,
right?
When you know it's not gonna be.
No.
Like, wouldn't you at this point though in real life try to just gun it, get the fuck out of there?
But like we said before, she had tried it. If you can't get the fucking Jeep out or whatever they were driving,
true.
Where you running to?
And in that situation, you're as a 14-year-old and like a 9-year-old or 10-year-old, you're completely terrified. You probably can't move.
Yeah.
But
you gotta try.
But I think the first thing I do is take that hot chili and put it in that bitch's face. Right?
Yeah.
I throw it in that bitch's face and I try to grab that gun. Right.
Yeah, I do.
Now, obviously, for movie purposes and story purposes, you can't do that.
Right.
I'm just saying. That's the brilliance of horror movies, is it puts you in that position. Because when I'm watching it, I'm like, if you know you're going, like
at this point, I'm not rooting for the kids.
True, but like,
absolutely.
But I'm saying
rooting for Grace.
But I'm saying like, if I'm that person, if I'm seeing that in theaters, I'm going, get the fuck out of there. Like, what are you doing? What the fuck are you doing?
I don't give a shit if you're running out in fucking socks and fucking t-shirt.
I'm trying to tackle her. I'm trying to throw the soup on her. I'm trying to do something.
Do something.
Flip the table over, something that she's not expecting.
She just killed your father.
Yeah.
In front of you.
And the state that she's in, it's very like an immobile state.
Yeah, she's not moving anywhere fast.
I say if you flip that table, she's not like just looking to shoot you in the face.
Right. She is good. She is good with a gun, though.
Apparently.
I mean, we saw that earlier in the movie.
Well, she's learned a lot from her dad, I think.
Yeah. Right, but we see how accurate she is when the father Rick is teaching her.
Yeah.
Just pull it and boom, 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 boom.
She knows how to use it because
she knows what she's doing.
She's been there before. But so at the end of the movie, obviously we get the kids saying this prayer. She puts the duct tape on their face that says sin.
Love it.
We pan down to the revolver. Goes black.
Hate it.
See, you hate it.
See, give me her blowing them fucking kids' heads off.
Now, I get that.
I want to see those kids fucking die.
Let me hear what you think. That's what you
I want to see those kids fucking die. And then
Okay.
I want to see her blow her fucking brains out.
Yeah, to end the whole movie.
That's what I want to see. I want to see her boom, boom, and then gun to the fucking head, temple.
Done.
Boom.
Screen goes black.
You know what? Or maybe she doesn't. Maybe she just goes on. Because she doesn't want to go to hell.
So she's still pondering if she's ready to leave.
She's still in purgatory.
It's almost like
she's still in purgatory.
It's almost like she did the kids and father a favor,
and she sent them to heaven.
Yeah.
See, I like that aspect better.
That's interesting.
Than leaving me hanging.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like
You're
that.
Damn right.
She was saving them, and she's not ready because she doesn't know if she's gonna make it to heaven. I like that.
Yeah.
Now, I don't like it if you just blow their brains out and then her. Because, here's my two things.
Mm-hmm.
So, I like your ending better. That ending would be dope, where she's pondering herself. Now, I don't know how you pull that off visually, because you can't have her talk to herself.
She just drops.
Now, but you don't... You can't get the point across.
Or maybe she kills both of them and then pulls the trigger.
Nothing. Interesting. She can't go to heaven at that point, too. So that's another aspect. But to your original, you can't... I don't know how you explain to the audience that she doesn't think she's going to go to heaven. Right? You'd have to have a way to explain that, which you don't have.
Right.
But I agree, I like that. If you pull the trigger and there's nothing, that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
End it there. She's screaming or something. She can't go. She's stuck in purgatory.
Right.
When in reality...
She's just
going to starve or some shit, right? Which is hilarious to think about. Right. So I like those, but I don't... My two things, I don't like her if she were to just blow their heads off on her own and end. I don't like it because now you have 5 people in a really cool movie that just blow their brains out. I don't love that.
Instead we have...
Yeah, but
you know what I mean? What are we left with instead, though?
It's an ambiguous ending, right? But that's okay. That's okay because you know what happens.
I don't mind the ambiguous.
You know what happens. It's not ambiguous. Does she kill herself, Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what her father did. It's the same thing. The reason they give that away is the sin duct tape. Mm-hmm. You know that's what she's going to do. That's what she believes.
Right.
And everything she's believed, she's done.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with that. That's why I'm okay with the ambiguous ending.
Then show me. See, I want to see it.
But what I don't like about that is that I think the director said to themselves, there's too many people just getting shot in the head. You've showed too much now. Now as a viewer in a movie, you're right. The shock factor would be... Actually not true. The shock factor is not there. After the dad, the shock factor is gone.
Right.
Now you know that everybody's just going to blow their head off.
Well, maybe slit their throats or something then. I don't... You know what I mean? There's ways to do this.
See, I think you like the shock factor in that way. Because you want to see the gore. You want to see...
You're damn right. I'm watching a horror movie.
Yeah, but I think you get that without showing it still.
Okay, and that...
But
okay,
I think the director looked at it and said...
So
they know what's going to happen. I don't have to show this 4 or 5 times.
This kind of goes back to, okay, so I kind of understand your point in this sense. We've talked about it with Rosemary's Baby.
Yeah.
They don't show you the baby at the end of the movie.
Because if you did...
Because your imagination can do more than anything.
Especially back then.
Back then. Today, you can do some of these things. And I understand why you wouldn't, because now you're wondering. But most people aren't going to read into this like we would. Or like most horror fans would.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people would walk away from this movie and say, well, what the fuck happened? Did she kill him? Yeah. I think we know. Definitely. That she killed him.
But that's my point. is that you know they did it. You don't have.
Okay, so
My point is that you don't have to show it again because you've already.
But why not?
Because you've already
desensitized.
You've already desensitized your viewer to 2 shootings now, 2 abrupt shootings, which you can't get any better than that.
Mm-hmm.
So the only thing you can do is not show your viewers that 2 kids get killed.
Right.
And that's more, in my opinion, that's more brutal because you're like, oh shit, I don't want to see the kids get shot. And then you don't, and you're like, oh fuck, okay.
Oh, yeah, okay. I'm so happy.
No, yeah.
I'm so fucking happy for you.
Okay, but just say,
I'm pro killing
just
the
say
kids
all the other viewers aren't a psychopath like you are.
I'm not a psychopath. I just want to see it.
If you were
I want to see it.
If you were a character in this movie, you're Grace.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with it.
But what I'm saying is, artistic point of view, I think the director looked at it and said, I've had too many people shot in the head in this movie. Right. And so they decided, okay, so tell me this. If you had the same movie set up, right, would you rather have them do it how they did or not show the mom get shot, not show the dad get shot?
You see, you can have all of it.
No.
You can have all of it.
I think
I think you're crazy.
No, I think the ending, okay. I think the ending is, okay. If you can't have, pick. If I want you to choose, okay, I know you want all of them, but from an artistic point of view and a story point of view,
okay, so
you don't want to shoot.
So we don't get to see the mother shoot herself.
Right.
Okay, so what if we're watching her at the table, we see her pull out the gun, and then it goes to the...
And it pans off, you would hate it. You would hate it.
You're damn right I'd hate it.
You would hate it.
You're damn right. Oh, but maybe we see outside the house, we hear the gunshot.
I don't like that.
I hate that too. That's why I would do all of it.
Because now...
That's why I would do all of it.
I don't want that answer.
Grow up, dude.
You gotta pick two. You gotta pick one. I want you to pick one. Okay? You can't... Okay, because if you don't see the mother shoot herself at the beginning of the movie, are you interested in this movie as much?
No.
Okay. Now come towards the end. Now at this point you're waiting. Now the build-up has been pretty slow, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now you're waiting for something to happen. If you don't get the dad, if they pull away, so now they've pulled away from the mom, and now they pulled away from the dad getting shot. Mm-hmm. Now where are you? So would you rather see those 2 get shot and not the kids and Grace, or would you rather have not those 2 then the shock factor ending?
But why do you have to have one or the other? Is my question.
Because there's too much. Critics would have torn them apart. I truly agree with that.
And what have I always said about critics? They
Fuck
can
them.
go
I
fuck
agree.
themselves.
I agree.
As a horror fan, I've watched a lot of horror movies. You have watched a lot of horror movies. Yeah. Give me something there. Give me a bang at the end before it goes.
So let me ask you this.
Or give me black screen and bang bang, and then her praying.
I like that.
And then
that.
And then you hear her praying, please.
Well, like I've said, I've already agreed with your ending. Your alternate ending, I like. Okay, I like it too. But that's not the ending. Okay. So just hear me out.
Okay.
What did you expect to happen?
I expected her to pull the trigger.
Exactly. They didn't want you to. They didn't want you to know what happens. They wanted you.
I know, and
Do you like any?
It's like not finishing.
Okay. Do you like any? Do you like any movie that leaves it up to imagination? Do you like when they do that where because you've already said this, so you can't fool me. You've already said that you like movies that are, say, okay, more like Rosemary's Baby, where they leave it more up to the imagination.
Yes. There are certain instances where that is better. Yes.
So it might as well have already happened, right?
Yeah.
So I think, not that I don't, like I said, your alternate ending, I like that.
Me too.
I like where she's still in purgatory because she's trying to save them. Right. It's actually out of love.
Yeah, she's trying to.
I like that.
Yes. How do you portray that to the audience? I understand that aspect of it.
Absolutely, but also
maybe she prays for them at the end.
Yeah,
please.
No, I like.
You know what I mean? I don't know. There's a way to do it.
You don't have to preach to me, bro. I'm just saying.
Whoa.
Just like the Father, I get it. What I'm saying is that from an artistic point of view, I think that the director and the writers and the producers looked at it and said, I think we've just shot too many people in the head already.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I get it.
Maybe in the writing and the rough drafts, they did show it. I bet they did.
Probably.
Because I think at the end of the movie they said, what we're going to allow the viewer to interpret is that they all die. They all get... Grace shoots both the kids and then shoots herself. That's why we pan down to the revolver. I think that's what they said.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what you get. They
Right.
just don't show it.
I get it.
Now, I do agree with you that maybe you hear the gunshots and maybe a pan out of the lodge, right?
Right.
Over the lake.
Right.
Big aerial view and you hear the
only hear
shots.
2 gunshots.
Yeah.
I
like that.
See, that's where you could have done so much more with the ending.
Where it'd be even more ambiguous.
Or 2 gunshots and then a click.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You could go so
and
many
then a scream. And
right.
I like that.
There's so many different directions.
And then you know it's out of love.
Or
that's a good idea.
Or 2 gunshots and then the prayer.
Yeah.
And then, please help them get to heaven or
whatever.
whatever.
To add to your alternate ending that I would have liked is the gunshots, right?
Mm-hmm.
For all 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
I would like it. I like the idea that she's still in purgatory, but I still don't know how you interpret that to the viewer.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the ultimate ending for me would be the 3 gunshots, and as it's happening of a pan out is the hymn they're singing becomes the actual score, where there's an actual song of that, right?
Yeah.
You hear the 2 gunshots maybe 30 seconds in.
Or
kind of like Devil's Rejects.
Or maybe as it's panning out.
That's what I'm saying.
As it's panning out, you see them all standing on the ice looking at the lodge.
Ooh.
Now
they're actually
really
dead,
in
and
purgatory.
they're really in purgatory.
I like that.
Yeah, that's good.
That too. Dude, what the fuck?
Like you hear the gunshots and then their eyes open and they're still there.
Right.
I like that. But I like the idea.
That could be done with this.
Yeah, I like the idea of the hymn becoming the actual score in the song, like an actual choir singing it
absolutely.
as you pan out with the gunshots.
Man.
Kind of like Devil's Rejects, where there's that really long scene where he has the gun to his head and it pans out.
House of a Thousand Corpses.
No. Devil's Rejects. Where he says, "I'm the devil and I'm here to do the devil's work."
Oh, I thought you...
And he says, "I want you to..." No, he says, "I want you..." No,
that's House of a Thousand Corpses.
That's Devil's Rejects. And he says, I want you to pray to your God." And he says, "I pray the butterflies and the bunny rabbits." That's Devil's Rejects.
But they do the same thing.
Same thing.
Corpses with the sheriff.
Exactly.
And it's a long
pause. Long pause.
Boom.
Yeah.
Right.
No, you're right.
Yes, yeah.
And it's a long pause and it pans out. It's like really slow motion.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then we hear that crazy music playing.
But I would rather have that same type of thing where you don't see inside, but you have the long pan out of the lodge with the hymn actually playing as a choir, and then you hear the gunshots halfway through. It abruptly stops, you hear the gunshots, then it's silence, go to black.
Right. See, they could have ended it better. The ending kind of bothers me, but I don't hate it.
No.
I don't hate the movie. I mean, it didn't make me hate the movie. There are some endings I've seen in movies where I'm like, okay, I will not watch that again.
Yeah.
Good movie for 90% of it, and then I'm like, the ending just didn't do it for me.
I just like how I think the biggest thing for me in this movie is the shock factor in a different sense of, they fooled me, man. I didn't know it was a prank. I just didn't.
I didn't.
They got me.
Not
they
the
really
first
got
time
me.
I watched it.
And when I watched it, I looked at Jess, I looked at my wife, and I said, I did one of these where I was like slouched on the couch. Then it happened, and I did this.
Are you fucking serious?
And I was like, yo, right back into it. You know what I mean?
Right.
They really got me on that. I thought it was great. Good story. Way to pull it off.
Yeah.
Bravo.
Yeah.
Bravo.
No, when you see the speaker in this movie,
In the
the heart, but it's mainly the speaker that is showing it. You understand everything comes together right then. And
exactly.
You're like, wow.
Yeah.
These fucking kids are evil.
Great idea.
Great idea. They kind of botched the ending for you.
Yeah. And that's okay.
And it's a kind of botch. It's not. This ruins the movie because I'll watch it again.
Yeah, exactly.
I've seen it a few times.
Yeah, it's worth the buy. And especially it's worth the episode, right? It's worth talking about.
Absolutely.
That's why we wanted to do this episode. First of all, great. It's winter, right?
Yeah, we were talking about it from when we saw it back when it first came out. We were like, wintertime, we got to do this episode. It's a good one, you know. So I'm excited. I'm glad we talked about it. I'm glad that we got the ending out.
And
the real
way,
ending.
way better than most 2019 movies.
2019,
You know what I mean?
2020. Yeah, it came out early 2019, but I feel like it didn't really get
It didn't hit until
play until 2020.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't know.
Which is whatever. I mean,
2019 wasn't a great year for
it
movies.
was that-
2020
you know
was
what?
definitely not a good year for movies
Yeah.
because of the pandemic.
the old pandy.
The old
That's
pandemic.
what I like to call it. The old pandy or
Pandy.
the old vid.
Right.
The old
vid.
COVID.
You want the vid, dude?
But you know what? Diamond in the Rough. That's what we'll think of in like 5 years. Be like, hey, that movie came out that time. That was a hard movie to put out at that time. You know what I mean?
Well,
Any movie put out in the next
3.2 million.
That's nothing.
That isn't.
You
As far
didn't-
as
you
money,
didn't
they
have
made.
any special effects. You didn't have nothing. It's all dialogue.
I know,
it's
but
all,
think about that's the money they made.
Yeah,
I mean, they probably paid the It Kid fucking
a
$1
lot
million.
of money. Yeah.
I mean, that
They
fucking
probably
kid,
played Alicia Silverstone a shitload of money just for the
You know,
6 minutes she's in.
She was like, I haven't done nothing in 10 years. I'm clueless.
Let me jump in. I'm
I'm
clueless.
fucking clueless. I don't know where I am.
I'm clueless.
I'll blow my fucking head off. Yeah, sure.
That's a good reference.
I've said it like 6 times.
It's good every
It
time,
just-
though. It's good every
it just
time.
finally-
They should have thrown
it
that in the
finally-
movie.
It finally hit you.
They should have thrown that in the movie.
They should have. Now she's brainless.
Oh. That's gonna be to promote this episode. That's gonna go in right there.
Oh, wow.
But dude, hey, great movie in a really weird time we're living in.
Yeah.
A kind of a diamond in the rough, like I said.
I feel like a lot of people don't really know this movie.
No,
Like I've talked to a lot of my friends. I've been like, "You ever seen The Lodge?" No.
Yeah,
I'm like,
no.
it's on Hulu.
Yeah.
If you have Hulu, just watch it. It's a
Well,
good movie.
and it's not like overplayed and shit though.
And
like
it's not super horror. It's not like it's a scary movie. It's a psychological.
It's not a thriller.
It's definitely not a thriller. And it is
It's
a
just
slow
super.
burn.
It's super. Yeah,
It is a slow burn.
but it's definitely 100% supposed to be.
Yeah. I have no problem with slow burn movies as long as I get the pull off at the end,
Exactly. Yeah.
which I got most of it.
And you didn't love it.
I didn't love
It's
the
hard
ending.
to. You
It-
just
it-
bought I Spit on Your Grave, so you're gonna love that movie.
I
We're gonna
know.
have to do that movie
Yeah.
at some point.
I've never seen it. I'm
But
excited
you're hard
for
to
it.
please, bro.
Well,
You're a hard.
I
one
know
to
what I
please.
want.
You know what you want.
I
You
know
don't
what I
always.
want.
You don't usually get it.
whoa!
You don't.
I don't know. I don't.
So we're gonna have to find a movie that you do get it. Hopefully, we
we're
will
gonna-
in the future.
we're gonna have another good one coming up here soon.
Yeah, we will. Oh, we get a couple great episodes coming up. We get some guests booked that
Oh yes,
everyone's gonna love.
it's gonna be really good.
Anyway, though, we're about an hour and a half in. This has been a great episode.
Yeah.
This is our first, like we said, this is our first video episode. Going to be on YouTube. All of our other episodes are on there, just with a backdrop. There's no video, but all audio is on YouTube now. Again, you can find us on Spotify, Google Podcasts,
Amazon.
Apple, Amazon Music, Buzzsprout,
Anywhere-
all those.
anywhere
Anywhere you get
right.
your podcasts, you can find us. Visit our merch store. If you go to the link in our bio on Instagram, which is New England HOH, that's New England Home of Horror. You can follow me there. You can follow Matt at Tequila Monster.
To kill a monster. The number
To
two, kill
kill
a
a
monster. It really means tequila monster.
Which
but,
is that
yeah.
Tequila Monster, yeah. So make sure you follow him. That's a brand new page he's building right now. A lot more to come. We're going to be doing Instagram Live videos,
Yep.
talking about stuff, all that great stuff. But we're really excited about the YouTube
Yes,
thing, doing
subscribe.
video. This is our first one, so obviously there's going to be kinks, and we're going to work some stuff out as far as audio and video,
Yeah.
aesthetics go and stuff.
And we'll
like
have a
that.
good time doing it.
Absolutely. And really appreciate everybody joining us again. I know it's been a little bit since our last episode, but obviously the holidays hit and all that stuff. So we'll be coming at you again here pretty soon with some guests and stuff like that. So
Yeah, we got some good guests.
we got some good guests.
I'm excited.
This year is going to be really good. We're really
Whoa.
pushing, and we're
Let's-
no, it's true, man. I totally believe that. Listen, when we first started this episode, it was 2019, almost 2020.
yeah, December.
So we've pushed this whole podcast through an entire pandemic. where a podcast shouldn't make it.
Yeah, and we missed some time. We did miss a little bit of time,
but you know what? We've pushed and we've built this podcast up for a year, and we're ready to take it to the next step. So
absolutely.
Here's to that.
Cheers, buddy.
One more.
Well, probably another one.
We really appreciate you guys joining us. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel if you can. Tell your friends. Visit us on all social media platforms.
Yeah,
Twitter
at
Home of Horror
Pod.
Exactly. New England HOH. That's New England Home of Horror on Instagram. To Kill a Monster. You can find all the links to our merchandise. We have some
killer stuff.
Some killer stuff for the pod. Yeah, we have some stuff for the podcast on there right now. Just regular merch. And then we have some really cool designs coming out with some pretty big artists. And then we have some really cool episodes coming with a lot of cool guests. So be prepared for that. And Matt, take us out, man.
May the power of Christ compel you.
Peace out, guys.
Peace.
Home of Horror, the Home of Horror podcast. Home of Horror. The Home of Horror podcast. So that's your third Stephen King?
Don't start with me, dude.
I bet they spent less than $50,000 on that movie.
$252,000.
Oh wow, really? Home of Horror.